Ready? Here's a top 10 list of things that we learned from the story and life of Jose P. Laurel. Jose Paciano Laurel was born on March 9, 1891. It was believed that his name Jose was derived from San Jose, or in English, Saint Joseph, the foster father of Jesus, who happened to have his own birthday on March 19, exactly 10 days after Jose P. Laurel's birthday on March 9.
His name Paciano came from our national hero's brother, Paciano Rizal, as a tribute. The Rizals and the Laurels were known to be good family friends. His parents were Don Sotero Laurel and Doña Coba Garcia. His father was a Secretary of the Interior in the Revolutionary Cabinet of Emilio Aguinaldo, but was taken as a prisoner during the Filipino-American War. Sotero Laurel wasn't able to see the light of day of his struggles when he died in a camp established by the Americans after he was captured and incarcerated. He left Jacoba Garcia, his wife, and the mother of their 5 children, including Jose P. Laurel himself. Given Laurel was born into a family of teachers and politicians, shows that he was raised in a setting that valued education, learning, and public service. He may have developed a sense of obligation to improve society through his work and pursuits as a result of the influence of his family.
Laurel's thoughts and view might have been impacted by his upbringing in Tanawan, Batangas. It's also possible that the long history of action and resistance in Batangas against colonial forces influenced Laurel's views and ideas on Philippine independence and sovereignty.
Laurel showed his dedication to academic excellence and his desire to acquire knowledge and skills that would enable him to make a positive impact in his career and society by choosing to pursue a law degree at the University of the Philippines and a Master of Laws degree at Yale University. Laurel gained a variety of viewpoints and ideas from various academic and cultural backgrounds while he was a student at several universities. His exposure to various school systems and learning environments may have influenced how he thinks and how he solves problems and makes decisions. Additionally, Laurel's legal education prepared him well for a future as a politician and statesman. His legal education gave him the information and abilities necessary to understand the complexities of Philippine politics and law and to make wise decisions regarding legal and policy matters. Laurel's pursuit of higher education at numerous schools showed his devotion to learning, his dedication to academic success, and his desire to use his knowledge and abilities to serve his country and have a constructive impact on society.
Now, Laurel appears to have been a diligent and dedicated student based on his school achievements, which includes receiving a law degree from the University of the Philippines and a Master of Law degree from Yale University. His life, however, indicated that he might not have been naturally passionate about learning and might have favored other activities like music.
When Jose P. Laurel went into high school at San Juan de Letran, he failed in his first year. Back then, failure in one subject meant failure in all subjects. He later found out that his failure was caused by his engagement with his hometown's orchestra. He decided to drop his participation in the orchestra and later transferred to another school while also getting a new job.
Laurel's early preference for music over academics emphasizes the value of following one's hobbies and interests in life rather than merely adhering to the expectations or conventions set by society. Laurel excelled academically in his later years, but in his early years, he was not afraid to follow his interests and passions, which may have contributed to his general sense of fulfillment and happiness at that time.
This should not come as a surprise. Jose P. Laurel was the third president of the Philippines and the president of the Second Philippine Republic during the Japanese occupation of the country in World War II. serving from 1943 to 1945.
As president, he tried to stop further bloodshed, lessening the damage brought by the war by giving necessities to the Filipinos and making the government functional in the tension while trying to secure peace and negotiating with the Japanese to give independence to the Philippines. After World War II, Laurel was accused of collaborating with the Japanese during the occupation of the Philippines, but he was later granted amnesty by then President Manuel Rojas.
Despite being a president during the Japanese occupation, it's a surprise to some that he rejected a run for presidency years after. Being a well-known politician and a probable contender, Laurel found it tough to decide against running for president. The basis for his choice? Well, his devotion and commitment for his wife, Pasensya Laurel, who had been ill for a long time.
This choice illustrates Laurel's strong sense of family values and his appreciation for the value of intimate bonds and obligations. Laurel put his family and his wife's welfare ahead of his political ambitions and the opportunities that might have resulted from running for president. Laurel's choice highlights his leadership ethics and morals. He showed a commitment to his principles and a sense of responsibility towards his family and loved ones by choosing not to run for president, despite the privileges and benefits that would have followed. This choice also demonstrates Laurel's regard for people's rights to dignity and welfare, which are crucial for characteristics for any leader.
His choice to abstain from seeking the presidency owing to his wife's failing health displays his priorities, sense of duty, and leadership integrity, as well as his regard for human dignity and well-being.
At the time, he was the only Filipino who served all three branches of the government. In the pre-war legislature, he served as majority floor leader in the Senate. In the judiciary, he was acting Chief Justice of the Supreme Court before the Second World War. In the executive, he was the wartime president of the Philippines. Jose P. Laurel started government service as a mere laborer in the Bureau of Forestry. He quickly climbed the ranks because of hard work, and in 1923, at the age of 32, he was the youngest to become a member of the cabinet. One notable event was his resignation from his position in the cabinet under Governor General Leonard Wood due to a question of principle. His resignation led to a crisis that resulted in a mass resignation of all Filipino members of Governor General Wood. During his time as a delegate to the Constitutional Convention and chairman of the drafting committee, he almost single-handedly wrote the Bill of Rights Provision of Commission, earning him the distinction of one of the 7 wise men of the 1934 Constitutional Convention. Laurel's efforts led to the passage of the Tidings-McDuffie Act in 1934, granting the Philippines 10 years to achieve full independence. He believed in the country's sovereignty and opposed foreign control, ultimately paving the way for its independence in 1946. Laurel's dedication to the cause of Philippine independence was also demonstrated by his actions during the Japanese occupation of the Philippines during World War II. Laurel continued to advance Philippine independence and engage in negotiations with the Allied powers to secure the Philippines' freedom while serving as the president of the Japanese-sponsored Philippine Republic. Overall, Laurel's commitment to the cause of Philippine independence show how deeply patriotic he is and how much he values national sovereignty. His efforts in the fight for the independence of the Philippines are still honored and remembered today.
Despite countless dangers and deep resentment from all the treacherous attacks on his life, he did not consent to the Japanese demands to kill or jail those suspected to end his life.
This particular incident ignited the true metal of Laurel's character. It is a truism that the supreme test of a man's mettle is when death stares at him. As Laurel continuously faced more of these attempts, he consumed the patriotic courage to stand up to the harsh and brutal endeavors of the barbaric enemies. Considering his relatively young age of 68 at the time, his abrupt death from a heart attack may have come as a shock to many who knew him. His death signaled the end of an era in Philippine politics and the death of a well-known figure who had been instrumental in determining the course of the nation's past and the future.
It is said that Jose P. Laurel had a compact with his wife, that if ever one of them would be gravely ill and near death, one would simply call and the other would regain consciousness. Although JPL never had the chance to call his wife, she followed him not long after his death.
His support for independence and his work to advance education and culture, among other contributions to Philippine politics and society, have had a long-lasting effect on the nation and its citizens. His legacy and life served as an example and a reminder of the value of nationalism, public service, and the quest for knowledge and achievement. Lyceum of the Philippines University was built as an institution for higher learning inspired by the ideas of Jose P. Laurel.
He had always carried an abiding concern for education. His inspiration to establish a school travels way back to his years at Yale University, and 3 decades later, alongside with some close friends, he turned his dream into a reality. With his classical thought, Jose P. Laurel named the school Lyceum of the Philippines after Lycios, the site in ancient Athens where Aristotle nurtured the minds of his scholars.
The school's motto, Veritas et Fortitudo, Prodeo et Patria, reflects Jose P. Laurel's belief in the value of learning and character formation for God and country.
And that concludes our top 10 list. We hope that you learned something just like we did. Until then, see you next time.